going on, guys? Tech Savvy Buyer here. So today I'm making a follow-up video to the last video I did on the support for a Ryzen 9 3900X with an X370 board. I got a lot of dislikes from you guys in the last video, all with very, very good feedback, and I sincerely appreciate it because I wanted to make something that's useful for you guys. So no hearts broken here, guys. I appreciate it. I love the feedback, and please keep it coming so that I can do better stuff for you guys. But anyways, before I jump and show you everything, today what we're going to be doing is looking at the Crosshair Hero 6. I know that was in my thumbnail last time, and it's in the thumbnail this time, and I'm actually going to show that board this time. The reason I didn't last time was because I had a test bench set up, and the Crosshair Hero 6 is actually in my own personal rig, which I'm using to actually edit this video. So with that being said, it was just a little bit easier. So now I'm going to push all that stuff aside and bring the camera back there, show you guys everything. But just before we do, I want you guys to take a quick word from today's video sponsor, coming up. Today's video is sponsored by GVGMall.com. GVG Mall carries a wide variety of game currencies and gift cards that you could use to take your gaming to the next level. If you're looking for a fresh copy of Windows or Microsoft Office, then you can certainly find those on GVGMall.com as well. They are priced very competitively and offer legit copies of Microsoft software. You can pick up a copy of Windows 10 Pro for under 15 bucks. Visit GVGMall.com for more information and use code TSB to save during checkout. So GVG Mall, guys, definitely a worth it website where you guys can go and pick up different kinds of codes and stuff like that. I'm not just trying to sell that thing to you guys. Honestly, I'm not an affiliate with them or anything like that, but their codes work. It's legit, and that's actually what I use for my systems, and I recommend to a ton of people. So a bunch of people bought it. Not to ramble on, go for it if you guys need a new Windows key. Anyways, let's take the camera back to that part. I'm going to show you guys the rig. I'm going to walk you through every single thing that I have inside my system and show you how I have obtained an overclock on this finally with the latest update that has come from ASUS. So let's show you guys that coming up. All right, folks, this is my personal rig that I use for editing, gaming, and pretty much all of my PC needs. So it is on a Crosshair Hero 6 Wi-Fi motherboard with the latest BIOS that has just been released as of July 18th by ASUS. There is 32 gigabytes of memory. That is the Vengeance RGB Pro by Corsair. Each stick is 8 gigabytes and it's clocked at 3000 megahertz right now. As you can see, the graphic card that I have in this is a GTX 1080 Ti by ASUS, the Strix. It's the non-OC edition. The cooler I'm using, which is actually really key in this, guys, is the Cooler Master ML360R RGB. Now, you don't have to get a fancy cooler, but you will need significant cooling when you're going to be overclocking the CPU because it does tend to run hot. Now, I also have some 240mm coolers as well, and I'm going to test that to see if those can actually withhold the overclock. But off the bat, I can already tell you that if you're going to plan on using the Wraith Prism cooler that comes out of the box with the Ryzen 9, you're not going to get an overclock on it because it's going to overheat. Now, as far as for power supply, I have an EVGA 850G2 80+ Gold, and the case that you guys see here is the Thermaltake View 71 RGB. So this is my favorite case by far, and it's going to remain here till I decide to get something new. Nothing in the near future anyways. So sorry to ramble on there, guys. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to the screens that you guys see here on the left side, and I'm going to do a little bit of a screen capture. That way you guys know that this is all running on that. Just before I do that, I want to prove to you guys that this is this rig running, and you can see my test bench is there, and it is decommissioned right now because I don't have anything in it. And it's not powered on, as you guys can see. I have my screen up here running, and we're gonna jump right to that so you guys can take a look at all the different specifications and all the different clocks I'm getting right now. Let's go over there. All right, guys, so this is my desktop. Now, I've pulled up all of these things so that you guys can see what my build is, just because trust issues, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just kidding. All right, so we've got a Ryzen 9 3900X inside the build, 32 gigs of RAM, and the display or the GPU is a GTX 1080 Ti. Now here it says it's running at 3.8 gigs. I don't know why DirectX Diagnostic Tool or DXDiag, whatever it's called, never really gives me the full speed of my CPU on here for whatever reason. But that's why I have it pulled up here in Hardware Monitor. So you guys can see I'm running at about 4300 megahertz consistently throughout, with a min touching about 4.2. Now, this overclock was achieved with keeping the voltage at 1.37, or actually 1.39. That's the max that I had set it to. It's not really going up there as often. And so today what we're going to do in this testing is I'm going to show you the stability of this and how you guys can see the overall temperature as we boot up different things. So we'll play games for a bit. I'm going to try and drag this up here and bring it in. I don't have a way of capturing both my screens with the exception of putting the camera on while I'm playing this game. So, and this is obviously going to impact the performance because I'm recording using OBS as well. Anyways, enough of the chit chat. I'm going to run Devil May Cry 5. You guys can see how stable this build is so far. And it's going to be in 4K, 60 frames per second, hopefully. But that's the settings that I have on there right now. Alright, so I'm opening up the PC options here so you can see my graphics settings here. So we're on 4K. We set the refresh rate to the monitor, which is 60 Hz. This is a G-Sync monitor, but I'm not enabling V-Sync in this. Frame rate is variable. And as you can see, all the textures and qualities and everything is on high or ultra, pretty much the max that I can push the system to. So I'm going to leave it at that. And let's go ahead and continue a map to see how it goes. Okay, so you can probably hear the fan in the background. That is the GPU and the CPU cooler. They're running. But here we are. No stability issues, no problems. The game is running fine. I don't have an FPS counter on the top, which I can actually show you, but without an FPS counter, you guys can pretty much see that this is running smooth. I mean, this is definitely smoother than consoles, and I'm not getting like 30 FPS or whatever on this. I'll play a little bit just to make a point here. Kind of show you guys how this works. Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, so I'm continuing to play this just because I want to get a sense of what the temperatures are like, and I'm going to pull that screen up here in a second. It's kind of hard not being able to record two screens at once, unfortunately, but you know what? It is what it is. So here we go. All right, let's pull up the temps. See what we're getting. So our CPU is still sitting at 46, 55. All right, somewhere around the 50s, let's call it. The max this has hit on an overclock of 4.3 is 75 degrees, guys. And my clock is still going at 4300 megahertz here, so I'm not really having any issues. And it's stable, as you can see. So overall, we'll look at the RAM over there real quick, but what else do we have here? Powers, total wattage consumption across all cores. It's about 85 watts is the max that I've seen this thing take so far. Right now it's averaging around 10. This thing is not being pushed by gaming. So that's my conclusion with this, that so far, and I know this is just one game, guys, and there's probably going to be different results for all kinds of games, but anyways, we are back. Let's open up hardware monitor again, make sure it's up and running. And this is pretty much where I'm sitting, guys. Now, the other test I'll do right here in front of you guys is I'm going to run Cinebench, and that way you guys can see how that works also. Let's see the usage. Let's minimize the screen here. Let's get that up. Actually, you know what? We can close this out. All right. Close this out too. Okay, now this is recording through OBS, like I said, so this is going to impact the overall performance, but I want you to just see the stability of this with the new BIOS. And again, I'm going to mute this because of the fan noise. Okay, so my score was obviously a lot lower than what I scored when OBS was not running, and that was expected. Well, it's not super bad, but you could see there's a difference there. What I didn't get to show you guys clearly here was all of this jazz. So you want to see the clocks, you want to see the utilization, all the power that's being drawn, and at the end of the day, let's take a look at the CPU temperature also, because this is where it actually spikes when you're getting full utilization. We'll run it again. So look at that temperature, it's going up. We're in the 70s now. Again, it doesn't cross 75 no matter how much I push this. 100% utilization across the board, 4300 megahertz frequency still going strong, and it's stable. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you guys before I end this video, I didn't want to make this super long, but the last thing I'm going to show you guys before I end this video is the BIOS section and what settings I have enabled there. That way you guys know how to do this on your own, and hopefully this video is helpful for someone out there. Okay, so I've booted into the BIOS. You guys can see this is the Crosshair Hero 6 BIOS, right? Now, it's showing on the right side that the CPU is running at 3800 megahertz, I don't know why it's showing this right here particularly, guys, but what I'm going to do is just show you here the different settings I've enabled inside the Extreme Tweaker menu. You could see my target CPU speed is at 4300 megahertz. The target DRAM frequency is at 3000 megahertz. Now, I haven't pushed the memory. I know I can, but the last time when I was doing this, I had a lot of instability with the memory, combating with the CPU. So for the purpose of this video, all I want to show you guys is that you can actually overclock now, and it's more stable given the newest BIOS update from ASUS. And the BIOS update, or the version that I'm running, is 7201. I think the last one was 7106. This is the newest one that just came out literally like a few days ago. So it came out on July 18th. As you can see, today is July 22nd. Now, the settings I have here, when you go into AI Overclock Tuner, I turn this on to the DOCP standard. That just gives you the option to start playing with some of these as you want. CPU core ratio is set to 43. Now, obtaining this overclock was simple. The only settings that I had tweaked here was the voltage. I changed that to 1.39. I didn't want it to run hotter than that, even though my cooler can actually handle if I push this up to 1.4. But then you're going to have longevity issues, and you don't want to do that. I did not touch the CPU sock voltage. So far, ASUS has been doing a good job on this specific board with keeping it at the level that it needs to be. I don't need to mess with that. And same thing with the RAM. Although it's running at 1.35, this is by default when you enable the DOCP. It's going to override and put in this value automatically. That's why I didn't have to touch any of that. The only two things I basically adjusted were the CPU core voltage and this, setting this to 43. And that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to exit here. Basically say I haven't made any changes to the BIOS. Now, the one thing I want you guys to see here real quick is the amount of time it takes to boot. This is one thing that I've seen since you putting a Ryzen 9 processor into this board. My boot time is longer, and it's not booting into the OS that takes the long time. It's just getting the screen to show up. So this is all live. You guys can see there's a little dot that's showing up there, and this is literally how much time it takes me to get inside the computer. I don't know if this is a glitch with the Ryzen 3000 series CPUs, but it's something that I wanted to point out to you guys to consider while you're doing the upgrade. Now, ultimately, my goal is to eventually change my motherboard and get a different one, but look how much time it took to get to that, just to pull that up. And it's going to do its thing. And of course, you guys all saw the specs of this computer. The SSD inside is running on an NVMe.2. That's where the OS is actually stored off of as well. So I would expect it to boot a little bit faster, and it was actually much faster booting into the OS when it was on the 1700X. And boom, we're in. So guys, I hope that was helpful. I don't know what else to pretty much show you on this, but basically the gist of this was, and like I don't mean to be repetitive on this, but you don't necessarily need to upgrade your motherboard if you want to get the newest Ryzen 3rd Gen series CPUs. I made that pretty obvious with both of the systems that I've tested, whether it's the ASRock Killer SLI X370 board or the Crosshair Hero 6 X370 board. Both of mine support it out of the box perfectly fine. Of course, you need to do the BIOS updates to get it working optimal. Now with the latest BIOS update that has come from ASUS, you basically can overclock stuff. I'm going to play around with this some more and see if I can get some more memory overclocks running on it as well to get some maximum performance. But ultimately, this is going to work for me for the next 6 months. The only reason I advise you guys to not update your motherboard right now is, the main reason is because the X570 is ridiculously expensive. But if you want to take advantage of all the features that the Ryzen 9 CPU or the Ryzen 3rd Gen CPUs can offer you, you'd want to go with an X570 board now that they have a whole ton of different features and faster capabilities. So down the road, definitely do consider the upgrade. For now, you can stick with that if you get a good deal on these CPUs. Again, nobody's rushed to purchase anything, but it's all on you guys practically. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys, not like the last one. I know I didn't do benchmarks and stuff like that. I told you guys it takes a lot of time to do all that, and I frankly am just not finding time these days to do that. So hopefully if I get around to it, I'll make some good benchmark videos for you guys to see the difference between a stock and an overclock, but not in this video. I wanted you guys to see the temperatures, that it was able to do the overclock, and that you have basically a stable system even with a 4.3 gigs overclock. Now I'm going to try and push it some more. Again, this is all content for later videos when I get some more time on my hands. Hope this was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel if you guys like this content. And again, if there was something wrong or missing, let me know as well, guys. I love the feedback, I truly do, and I really want to continue to improve the video. So I look forward to seeing you guys. God bless you all. See you on my next video.